I'm Cameron. I just defended my master's in June of last summer, and now I am continuing on for a PhD. So I guess I like it enough to stay. But basically, my background, I'm using geochemistry to basically look at paleoclimate. So right now specifically, my master's was using uranium thorium methods to date cave formations because we can learn a lot from climate from cave formations because they need water to grow. So basically, I did that for my master's, and now I'm moving on and looking at isotopes within those samples to look at what exactly was happening in North America for the last 250,000 years in terms of precipitation patterns, aridity events, and just basically trying to reconstruct a paleoclimate history of North America, which is very interesting because there's a giant ice sheet fluctuating in and out several times for the last 250,000 years. So it's an exciting project and very new to me because I haven't really thought about ice sheets very much in my undergrad, which is why it's very intriguing and exciting. So, yeah. I am from North Carolina.
So how'd you get here?
Yeah.
What's your story?
Yeah, so I basically went to school at a very kind of smallish, geology program, Appalachian State University in the Western North Carolina in Boone. And I fell in love with geology, and I knew I wanted to do research because I did quite a bit of research in undergrad and I wanted to continue. So applying to grad schools, I was just, you do the standard search for good schools and look for advisors and programs. And I found my current advisor, Sean Marcotte, doing really interesting things. And so I came here and loved it and got offered to work on the cave project that I'm currently doing. And it's all worked out. Yeah. So it's basically a Google search that got me here. And UW is a really good program. So it all kind of just happened.
So
I guess.
When you were going to school at undergrad, did you go to school knowing that you wanted to study geology, or is that something you learned there? Yeah,
so I was actually, I guess, not super open about my major because my sister was a geology major. So she's 3 years older than me. And so in high school, I really liked environmental science, and I went to visit her at college one week, and she took me to some of her geology classes, and I was like, man, this is really cool. You can do science and learn about like just Earth itself and how it's evolved through time, and I was really intrigued. But growing up, I was always the little sister that followed what my big sister did. So I was kind of intimidated to tell my family that I actually really wanted to pursue geology as a thing. So I was actually a business major for the first 2 years of college, but all I would take is geology classes. And my academic advisor was finally like, why are you a business major? You're only taking geology classes. And I was like, oh, I just don't want to tell my family. And then he was like, this is very unrealistic. You need to declare geology. So then I finally declared, and it's kind of funny because she is a geophysicist and I became a geochemist, which, we're under the same umbrella of geology, but two very different paths, in my opinion. So it's not like my family saw me as completely following her. She just kind of showed me what the potential of geology was, and I fell in love with it. So I was really lucky to have her as a geology sister, I guess. It's a good question, because I feel like grad school, you get so busy, you lose touch of hobbies. But I will say when I'm trying to de-stress, I guess, what everyone else likes, the cooking, traveling, of course, which is why I feel like all geologists love to travel. I also really like reading and watching TV. So if anyone knows me, I'm a big reality TV fan. I just like looking and getting lost in other people's problems, I guess, because it distracts me from my stress. So I think that's why I'm drawn to reality TV. Survivor, hopefully one day I'll be on it. But yeah, so I guess I kind of like distracting my mind by reading, watching TV, movies, etc., and just enjoying outdoors, hiking. I wish I was a better cook, and soccer is a lot of fun. World Cup, love World Cup. Big fan of soccer, so not really into other sports. Besides the last 5 minutes of a basketball game if it's really close. Love that. Love the last 5 minutes of basketball game. It's really close. It's like I'm on the edge of my seat. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This can be a little tougher question, but in your life, and dig into this as much or as little as possible as you want, but can you think of something that's challenged you, that maybe challenged you in the past, maybe is still challenging you, and what you have or are learning from that?
Yeah, I think I share a similar problem with a lot of people where we like to get in our own heads and convince ourselves that we're not meant to do something that we want to pursue, or we're not good enough for something that we want to pursue. And so in undergrad, I struggled with this a lot because I was juggling classes and research, and I was doing all this awesome work, and I was still in denial that I could even do grad school or like go to grad school. And so my advisor was kind of like, just go to grad school, like you're meant to do it. And I did it, and now I'm here and I'm doing it. I got my master's, but I'm still struggling with it. Like, is it the right thing to do? You know, how do you get out of your head? So I think, I don't know, like talking to people about how sometimes you don't feel like maybe you're doing the right thing or you're not good enough. You just talk about it and try to get out of your head, because I think everyone thinks that in a sense. So if you just remind yourself that it's like normal, you'll get past it. But so yeah, I guess if that, yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Classic imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I guess classic imposter syndrome. So, and I guess it doesn't really stop. Like I thought, I always think, okay, I'm gonna get my master's and it'll go away. Like I think that will like be the thing to prove to myself that I deserve to be here. And then it like still didn't go away. And now it's like I'm trying to push out a paper. It's okay, once this becomes published, maybe that's the thing. And I don't think it's ever gonna actually go away. So you just have to like try to push those thoughts out of your head. And if what matters, I think, is if you're in the now and you're enjoying what you're doing. And that may sound really irresponsible because people are like, oh, plan for your future, all this. But I honestly think that as long as you're happy in the now and doing what you like in the now, that's ultimately what matters. So, yeah. I think my absolute favorite thing about UW and the department is how collaborative and encouraging the environment is. So that was a big thing for me after I just talked about imposter syndrome. I was really scared I was going to come to a very intimidating grad school program where it's very cutthroat, and you know you're expected to be giving 110% all the time and you can't stop. And if you're not producing your best work all the time, you're just going to get slammed for it. And then I came here and everyone's expecting great work and it's very encouraging, but at the same time, I feel like everyone's understanding and willing to help you if you're struggling, and that to me is the best thing about this department. Everyone is willing to help one another. The grad student body in itself, I feel like everyone's checking up on one another. Like we all have this like community feel, and I don't think that's normal for grad programs. I think it's a special thing UW has, and I also really appreciate the professors. Like there's not been one professor that I've like absolutely been scared of or has completely like, I don't know. There hasn't been any professor that I've had anything but awesome reviews about. And yeah, if you're really lucky to be at such a great program and for it not to feel like super cutthroat, if that makes sense. So I love that about UW. So yeah.
I think that does it.
Cool.